Welcome to The Communicator, your quick journey into the world of chemical engineering. I'm Samantha Wright-Vargas, AKE Corporate Events Chair. Whether you're a ChemE or just curious, join us as we make chemical engineering exciting and accessible. Time to catalyze some great conversations. Hey everyone, I'm Samantha Wright-Vargas, and I'll be your host for The Communicator. Today I have Dan, a grad student in the University of Texas at Austin Chemical Engineering Department. If you could take a moment to introduce yourself.
I'm Dan Raser, and I'm a second year in the Rosales Research Group.
Amazing. To start us off, briefly take us through your background, your road to pursuing a PhD in chemical engineering here at UT.
So I went to college at Rutgers University in New Brunswick in New Jersey, and I studied chemical engineering there. Um, not too much crazy things. I did some research, which I think we'll talk about in computer science, some research in transdermal delivery. I worked at a distillery for a while, not the most related, but still good research experience. And then I taught there also, which I thought was great. I think we'll talk about that a little bit too. But I really like teaching. And so I went to do a PhD, both because I like doing research and I wanted to have a project that I kind of had some leverage in, and I was actually able to do something. I really kind of enjoy kind of organic chemistry is kind of like playing with Legos. So I kind of enjoyed having that kind of project where you have sort of these modular components. And then I also wanted to teach, and I think we'll talk about it, but I could possibly work in academia. So that's kind of why I decided to do a PhD.
Okay, awesome. So you are a graduate student assistant at the Rosales Research Group here at UT, researching polymer nanoparticle systems for drug delivery. Can you explain exactly what you do in this research? Any surprising findings, challenges?
So basically the idea here is that you can mix hydrophobically modified polymers with nanoparticles, and I'm not going to go too much into that. But basically what we're trying to do is a problem and kind of the general whole thing is that you want injectable biomaterials that can also have sustained delivery, which are kind of competing things because things that are readily injectable are often very weak materials. I mean, you could think about water as being a readily injectable material, and then things that are persistent or they can be sustained drug delivery vehicles are often very hard materials and very persistent. So what our research does is kind of bridging that gap and making something that's both injectable, self-healing, and persistent in the body. So you could have maybe a once yearly, I think I'll use the very popular example of GLP-1s. I think that's something that's very popular for a lot of people. And the idea there is that you want it at kind of a low level for a long period of time. So you want to have theoretically an ideal material would be able to release that drug slowly over time. So what we work with is we work with controlling the actual material properties because that's what the Rosales group does. We're a very material focused lab, and we control the properties of that material to kind of match it to the desired therapeutic window.
Okay, awesome,
hmm
great. Um, so you do have a broad range of research experience, including machine learning, food engineering, consumer products, and currently this research you just talked about. How did you decide what to explore versus what to specialize in?
So I mean, really, I think this will really resonate with a lot of the UT students. A lot of you guys have a lot of ambition and a lot of aspirations, and you guys just, I mean, you kind of like, I mean, and so did I. You just kind of throw things at the wall, like you just kind of apply to everything, and if you get it, you get it. So like, my original research experience was actually in modeling coke formation on platinum catalysts. So essentially, what you're doing is you're reacting hydrocarbons, and some of the hydrocarbons will stay on the platinum catalyst and basically render it useless. You can't use it as a catalyst anymore, which is highly unrelated to the
Interesting.
research I do now. And it was also during COVID, so you couldn't go anywhere. So this was something that you would model on the computer. And that's clearly not related to what I did, but I just did that because I wanted to get involved somehow. And then I worked in a distillery kind of for the same reason. I wanted to do research somewhere else. So I went to the University of Tennessee,
Mm.
and I didn't know what I wanted to do. It's I feel like a lot of people have that feeling. So I worked at the University of Tennessee, kind of as a process engineer, making sure this distillery was running and seeing where certain downtimes are in the line and seeing how we can run it better and how we can make sure the quality of it was we were making moonshine at the time.
Oh.
Making sure that quality was upkept and that we were able to make as much product as possible. And I worked at Colgate Palmolive at their research campus in Piscataway, and that's where I started actually working on research that was related to what I was doing. And that was also the first time that I worked in experimental research, which I mean is very aggravating. Like if you've done experimental research, you get it. But it was kind of very cool how you can change things. And we were trying to deliver things through the skin. So, I mean, I'm not going to go too much into it, but like we would, rub stuff on pig ears and see delivery through it. Is kind of gross.
Interesting.
But I kind of saw from that, and even though I was a very small part of it and I wasn't making any of the experiments or anything like that, I still saw kind of the ability of experimental research and the real impact that it had. So I knew I wanted to work in pharmaceuticals and kind of I decided, and originally I was going to specialize in PDCs, which are protein drug conjugates, which are just, a kind of modern way of making targeted delivery systems. But then I got here with the Rosales lab and I was kind of between labs and I told Adrian that I really wanted to work on something in drug delivery. And hers, as I kind of said before, is a biomaterial focused lab. But I was like, I really want to work in something. So we kind of met in the middle. And now I'm actually working on putting peptide drug conjugates in the material that I'm making for relevant applications. Um, so it was kind of just like finding the right research environment and finding kind of what our passions do. Cause like, I mean, you're here for a long time. I'm here for 5 years.
Mm.
Like you kind of need to find something that you're passionate about. So that was kind of like my path towards research, without getting too specific in the nitty
Yeah.
gritty of it.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice to undergrads here.
Mhm.
Maybe doing the same thing. But are there any skills that transferred to your current research with these experiences?
Um, I think, um, definitely some stuff about, definitely from Colgate. I mean, we would do, and even now I have my undergrad doing the same experiment a bunch of times, and so do I. But really just doing the same, like mastering an experiment
Mm.
and then just because, like, I mean, the idea of like experimental research is like, I'm going to use some crazy analogy here, but like you have like a watering hole and there's a ton of food around the watering hole and you want to slowly get away from the watering hole because that's actually where new things are. And maybe you can like find some great food source or whatever. But you just have to slowly work away from it. You just have to slowly work into the unknown. And I started like, I mean, I thought my research was going to go super quick. I was going to graduate here in 3 years, whatever. That's what everyone thinks. But you just have to kind of start where everything is known and then just work slowly out. So I think what I really learned from that Colgate is that we would just do the same thing, change one thing, same thing, change one other thing.
Yeah.
And then, you're slowly seeing these trends develop and you're slowly, working out into the unknown. So that's really what I learned from that experience.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Um, how did you get your first research experience? Something like you wish you did earlier in your undergrad career?
So I got it the summer of my freshman year, so I'm not sure, I would have been a good researcher before that. Because I mean, I didn't really even know what I wanted to do coming out of high school. Both my parents are chemical engineers. That's just like why I decided that path originally. But I applied to this summer arrestee research program. And this was at a point, this is before AI. This is at a point where I realized kind of computer science was super useful, but I didn't necessarily want to do it as a field because this was kind of at a point where everyone was like, computer science is super saturated, but its applications are, I mean, I guess as you could see now, are,
Hmm.
very broad. So what I did is I applied and I wanted some sort of computer science because this was during COVID. No one was able to talk to each other or do experimental research. So that's just why I kind of was, and I applied to that project and I was on it for like almost a year and a half, essentially just modeling, different hydrocarbon chains on this platinum catalyst. But that's how I got it. I just applied through kind of a summer program. But I know a lot of people say you should talk to the professors. I've never personally done that, but I mean, now on the other side, I definitely see that that's a good idea.
Hot take.
I I just like I mean, and I totally get it. Like, and Adrian, my advisor, Adrian Rosales, she gets asked all the time by undergrads, and I mean, I kind of threw it out there to my class, like I'm looking for an undergrad, and that's how I ended up getting mine. But like, I mean, you really like we want people to do research for us.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I would love to have 7 undergrads. But it's just like you really should actually. I know it's like very stressful, but like I'm just a guy, and like Adrian's, we're just people, right? So like just ask us, and the worst you could say is no. But we like love passionate people. I always used to say to the people, like even though I only ended up choosing one undergrad, I was like, just go out and like find something that you like, because like we want people to do research.
Mhm.
So yeah, I never personally did it, but like I'm kind of talking from the other side of the fence that you definitely should take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's awesome. That's really good advice. So anything you wish you did earlier in your undergrad experience? No.
Um, I ended up with 3 minors in my undergrad, and that's not something that you should do, and in hindsight, I really should have just done 2 majors. I should have just double majored.
Mhm.
And why did I do 3 minors? I don't really know. It's just I really wanted to, like, put myself in the best position possible. And then I just like was like, if I take a bunch of classes, like something's gonna stick. Like I'll do some great thing if I do all these classes. And really, I should have just planned out what I was gonna do a little more.
I see.
So I wish I would have done that. I also wish I would have been involved in research a little bit more, but I also did have a good amount of research by the time I graduated.
Mhm.
And I would have said get involved in teaching pretty early on, but I pretty much did get involved in teaching as soon as possible. That's just something that I really liked. Also in high school, I used to tutor like younger high schoolers. But yeah, just probably have a little more of a path with my academics, because I was kind of just throwing things at the wall.
Yeah, well, like bouncing off of that, you did take a few minors like CS,
Mhm.
business. How did these like shape your skills as a chemical engineer? And do you recommend chemies look into taking these?
Um, I definitely would. I mean, the one thing, and this was everyone hated this when I took undergrad, but like taking MATLAB courses, like my minor in computer science, like the amount of computer science that I do now, is like just unreal. Like I'm just like, because all we're doing is essentially we're trying to quantify these different ways that our material was responding and different ways that it's relaxing and what that actually means for physical properties like injectability and persistence. And like that may seem like a very qualitative thing, but there's a ton of research on actually quantifying this stuff and making models, and I'm not even going to really go into them, but like making something where you can gather a bunch of data and it will spit you out a bunch of trends is like so hugely important to actually being able to analyze this data. So I use computer science almost every day. Like
Mm.
I think that is super relevant. And even now, like people who are heavily interfacing with AI, like I just think it's super nice to understand how that's actually forming and how you can actually adjust these certain things. Because I think a lot of people nowadays think that, computer science might be a bad thing to study just because, ChatGPT or AI can do that all for you.
Yeah.
But I think actually knowing how to make those models and, being able to very precisely interface with that or interface with something like MATLAB or Java or stuff like that is very important. So I definitely think that minor, I think my math minor, I got because chemical engineers take math anyway. So I
Mhm.
only needed to take one class to get that minor. And then business, I just took because we needed general electives, and I wanted to take that towards something. So that's just why I did that. And I learned about statistics, but obviously I'm not doing stuff with business. I'm doing stuff with research. So not the most related at this point.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
great. Thank you for taking us through that.
Hmm.
Kind of taking a little detour, but many freshman chemies this year know you as a 210 Intro to Computing TA. Can you talk about what this experience was like for you? Would you like to send a message to all the freshman chemies that
Uh
took your class?
huh. Yeah. So I'm actually teaching next, which I talked about before the interview, but I'm teaching next semester too, which will be my 8th semester teaching at the collegiate level, which is pretty crazy
Mhm.
considering I've only had that ability for like 10 semesters. But it's just like it's something that I'm really passionate about. And actually something that I've noticed here in Texas, I taught 210, as you said, last semester, right?
Yes, last
Okay.
semester.
And something that I realized is that the students here are just super passionate about, and maybe that's just because I taught freshmen and I used to teach seniors, so it's a little different. But people were just super passionate, and my advice just for, students just coming into the university is just be over prepared. Like, I think something that I necessarily didn't really like, but was also a problem with me, so I can't even hate on it, is that like people are very anal about grades. Like they're just like, oh, and like how much do I have to do this grade? I would just over prepare for anything. And I can't even say that's necessarily a bad thing because that was also me in undergrad. I was just super focused on grades and like I wanted to be the best in the class and stuff like that. So like I can't even hate on the people doing that. Like I totally get it. But just be over prepared. Just really work to understand the material and really want to understand the material because it makes it a lot easier. And you're taking a lot of classes. I mean, I was so done with classes by the time I graduated undergrad. So just actually want to do it and actually like find some interest in doing stuff like that. Um, and then just the thing that we talked about before is that just like, if you've had a good TA or you've had a good research mentor, there's these fellowships or awards coming out. So just like if you did enjoy like your TA and you thought they did a great job, I think Christina sent it out. It's due on April 26th. And I'm not even saying, submit it for me. Submit it for anyone. Just give someone your flowers because we really do. Like a lot of the people who come to this university, they really care about teaching and they really do want to do a good job teaching you guys and making STEM education more accessible for you guys. So just kind of giving people their flowers, while you still can. And this is really a great opportunity to do that, kind of cement it in kind of a solid thing. But definitely just, give some of your flowers, take a few minutes to, show that you appreciate what they did. And yeah, it doesn't have to be me. I'm just saying in general. Yeah, because it's definitely important and we're trying to give you a great experience. And
Mhm.
I hope that we did that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
great. Yeah, we appreciate everything our TAs do for us here.
Hmm.
Y'all are very helpful. Um, yeah, so another little thing, you were a rower at Rutgers University,
Hmm.
practicing roughly 20 hours a week. That's crazy. How did you manage your time with a demanding majors such as ChemE?
Yeah, I will say a lot of people thought that I was crazy. It's just like, I mean, it's just what you want to do. Like, I mean, even now, like, I'm pretty involved here just because, like, I'm just like, oh, it's a bad analogy, but I'm just like a dog. Like, I just need to go out and like do something. Like, I actually thought it was really helpful for like my studies because it was just something to do that was just fun, and I didn't have to think about studying, or I didn't have to just be like, oh my God, this test tomorrow. Like I would just go out and do something.
Mhm,
And that's just where a lot of my friends were. Like I made a lot of friends doing crew. Super difficult sport, but I just like thought it was super useful. Um, and even here, like I'm still super involved in like different activities and stuff. And I just think like, I mean, I'm not gonna like tell people to get involved, but like I just think it's super important to get involved and do something that's not ChemE.
mhm.
Because like, I mean, you don't need 18 hours a day to work on ChemA stuff. Like you need like you need that time and like you could be super focused during that time, but like outside you should be doing something else. Like, and I'm not gonna preach about how like great physical cardio and stuff like that is for you, but like I think it's super, super useful to kind of just get away and think about something else.
Mhm, mhm. Take your
Hmm.
mind off of things for a
Yeah,
little bit. Yeah,
exactly.
for sure. Do you have, like, a favorite memory from this experience?
Um I mean, I just thought like we used to go to breakfast every day. Like it was just spending a lot of time, wasting times, just going to saunas with like 15 people, just packing it out. We used to travel to Florida during the winter because unlike here, it's
Mhm.
cold there. So we couldn't row over the winter. But we used to just go there and we used to raid like USF's dining hall. So that was a really great time. Everyone was just super mad at us. But yeah, no, it's definitely where like all my friends from college came from. It was just like, I mean, I definitely don't regret it, even though it was a very difficult experience.
Awesome, that sounds like a really awesome experience, in your undergrad years. I guess, what are your plans after graduate school?
So I think, I mean, I still have to teach a little more, and like I just got done with my candidacy exams. That was like pretty stressful just to stay in the university. But I think I'm between working in industry. A lot of people they need PhDs to end up working in pharmaceuticals, so it's
Mm,
also just a really good way to kind of boost yourself into industry. And then also, I definitely am still interested in academia. Very hard field to get into, just because it's very competitive,
Mm.
especially with different funding things now. But I really enjoy teaching people, and I'm really enjoying kind of being a mentor and kind of having control of my own project, which is essentially what you would end up doing if you were a an academic at an R1 university.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Last question, but what initially brought you to UT? What made you want to get your
Um,
PhD here?
yeah, so when I was applying to schools, I mean, really, obviously, you wanted a good research environment, and you wanted them. I mean, I basically narrowed down a bunch of schools just based on who was doing stuff in pharmaceuticals and who was doing stuff with sustained delivery and stuff that was kind of related to my original research from Colgate. And then I mean, this is kind of not related, but I wanted to be somewhere warm. I was kind of done. I lived in New Jersey for 22 years, and I was kind of done with just sitting inside and doing nothing during the winter months. So, Texas was super attractive. So was Georgia Tech, just because they were more south. And those were kind of the two schools that I had to choose between. And and I kind of came here and I talked to Adrian Rosales, my advisor, to be. And I was just I was super interested in her research. She gave me some great feedback. We visited here, we went kayaking. Like, it was a really great, just great weather here. It was February. It was like 20 degrees in New Jersey. It was like 80 degrees in Texas here. And then I visited Georgia Tech, and they also, I mean, I'm not going to say anything bad about them. They had great research. And I had some great conversations with them too. But there were just a few factors like their stipend and different things like that. And Atlanta was just a totally different vibe than Austin.
Mhm.
I just thought Austin was super welcoming, and Georgia Tech kind of talked negatively about Atlanta. So I also, thought it was kind of and at the end of the day, it kind of became an easy decision that I was going to go here for those factors.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us on our podcast. We
Hmm.
loved having you and we wish you the best.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to The Communicator. If you'd like to learn more about UT's Chemical Engineering Department, then check out our other episodes. We hope to see you on the next one. Same feed, new insights.